Thank you for joining me for yet another unboxing video, and this is video 2 regarding Dust Tactics. This is the updated rulebook for Dust Tactics. The year is 1947 and the war isn't over. And I also have a SSU 2014 Forces deck. I picked these both up at Miniature Market for a discounted, deep discount. I think this book here was $2. I think the cards were $1. Because obviously Dust Tactics is now out of print, and they're just trying to dump excess inventory that they might have at the store. So they had one of those big sales, and I picked it up at a cut rate price. But of course, at the time when I picked this up, is what really garnished my interest was the fact that I didn't have a copy of the core box set for Dust Tactics, and I happened to recently pick one up, and you could see for the previous video before this one, you could see that I did an unboxing for the deluxe box set for that. Now these again, this is the core rulebook, and this is an expansion pack, which is the SSU Forces pack. Again, as I always say with all of my videos, if you don't have a copy of the core box set Dust Tactics, the rulebook and the deck of cards will be completely useless. So let us continue to roll on here. So we're going to start off with the Dust Tactics Advanced Rulebook. Again, with the core box set, it came with a minimal rulebook. This one adds a lot more information into that. So let's flip this over and take a look at this real quick. It says, Another Earth, a different 1947. The Second World War has raged for nearly a decade, and its grip has spread to every continent on the planet. War has advanced swiftly and strangely in the Dust universe through the application of alien VK technology, a limitless source of energy in its simplest form and an unthinkable weapon in the wrong hands. Out of the mind of Paulo Parente comes the world of Dust, a world where tanks have evolved into powerful combat walkers, where rocket troops take to the skies and the latest laser cannon phasers and Tesla weapons rule. Dust Tactics brings this richly imagined world to your gaming table with a choice of 2 ways to play. You can play Dust Tactics on a gridded game boards or Dust Tactics Battlefield on a gaming table with 3-dimensional terrain. Both games use the same rules and unit cards, allowing you to play whichever way you want. Dust miniatures are assembled and ready to play right out of the box, so you get straight into your first game. Right. So for more information, you're going to go to dust-tactics.com. This came out in 2014. The original core box, which I just showed you, came out in 2010. There was an additional edition that was released, a second edition. There might have even been a third edition. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, this is the rule book that I picked up to enhance my gameplay for that core box set, which I just picked up. All right, so there we go. Let's go into this, of course, beautifully illustrated book. Has lots of different setups and tells you everything you need to know here. So you have Dust Miniatures, Dust Tactics Core Rules, Dust Tactics Unit Cards, Dust Dice, and additional optional Dust Rules, all included in this rulebook. Great artwork throughout. Of course, you have your table of contents. Then you have the map of the war and what's going on in 1947. You have the 3 different powers. You have the Allies, you have the Axis, and of course you have the Sino-Soviet Union, which is here, the red part, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics at the time. And going through, it gives you a background fluff about the battle, how's it been raging over the years, gives you a bunch of background information about that. There's your Bazooka Joe, who's one of your heroes right there. Everything going along there. Axis forces, Soviet Union, and then it goes into introduction to Dust Tactics, playing Dust Tactics, starting the game board, playing the game, the diagram keys, how to use the Dust Dice. Again, unit cards, explains to you how to read the unit cards. Going through there, then I've got rolling for initiative, nothing actions, move and march, move actions, moving through rough terrain, moving through open squares, tree squares, rubble squares, structure squares, swamp squares, water squares, ammo crates, anti-tank traps, walls and buildings, moving around corners and aircraft, move over terrain. Then, of course, it tells you how to do sustained attacks and regular attacks. It shows you how to use the weapon chart, what the combat dice, how to roll them, number of dice that are required, all that stuff. Checking range, that's all included here as well. Checking, of course, line of sight, through units, around units, everything else you need to know about line of sight. Declaring targets, rolling to hit, blast weapons, flame weapons, rolling saves for cover saves, for infantry saves, and for armor saves, applying damage, and automatic kill weapon. I'm assuming if something is double the strength, it will kill you outright. So if a tank shoots a soldier and it lands a hit, it's going to kill him outright. Close combat weapons, close combat attacking, reacting to flank attacking, reactive attacks, then setting up the game. Then it gives you a choice of different scenarios, which are going to give you different ways to set up the boards. So you got the encounter, you have grab the dust, you have scenario 3, bait and flank, supply drop, all out attack. Now let me just show you real quick. Let's take a look at the first one. So it tells you right off the bat how it sets up. So you have your boards, how to lay them out. You have your game board, your deployment, your objectives, and the game length. So in other words, you're going to count up the points at the end of 8 turns. If you haven't destroyed your enemy, you're going to count up your victory points. And of course, you want to try to get your objective. So for this one, the encounter, there is no specific. It's just basically line them up and kill each other. That's just to show you how to use the game mechanics. Now, one thing I always like to show everybody is how do you win the game? Well, it says the game ends at the end of a turn when all the players' units on the board are eliminated, hence scenario 1. Just fire at each other to learn the rules. One of the players achieves their scenario objective, which I showed you on there. The objective in the first scenario, there was none. And scenario reaches its turn limit, which is the 8 turns, and you count up the victory points and all that it's saying down here. So that's how you win the game. So again, we got scenario 1, you got encounter, you got grab the dust, which is 2. 3 is bait and flank, 4 is supply drop, 5 is all out attack. Then we move on to the battlefield, how to play Dust Tactics Battlefield. So if you look at these pages right through here, I guess 1 through 38 pretty much, you have the rules, the standard rules for getting Dust Tactics right out of the box. Now, if you want to change it up a little bit and do the battlefield where you're not using the actual tiles that they provide for you, you want to use your own terrain, you want to use your use your own battle mats and stuff like that, it's going to be just set up a little bit differently. Starting the game, again, the gaming table, measurements. Again, you're using the cards just the same way yet again. And then it's going to talk about nothing actions, moving and marching. Again, it sets up that as well. So the rules are going to be a little bit different. So as you can tell here, they added a lot more terrain. You added buildings, you added tree lines, you added all that stuff. So that's going to add into your line of sight, moving through terrain, what's considered impassable terrain, walls, buildings, moving vertically, tracked vehicles in terrain, half-tracked vehicles in terrain. So again, moving through other units. So things change. Checking your field of fire, weapons charts, your range, you're checking your range, close combat, medium range, range between vehicles, line of sight, who can you see, who can see you, through woods, through buildings, to aircraft, through smoke. So the rules basically are just getting a little bit more advanced, and that's really what it's talking about. If you're anybody who's ever played a miniature agnostic game or ever played another miniatures game, it's very similar in nature to that. And of course, every rule system is going to have their own little quirks to it, but the reality is, and then the fact that you have the cards, which read everything right there for you, makes it that much easier. Again, one thing I do like about Dust Tactics is that everything is provided for you. The characters are pre-painted. You throw them right out. Well, they have a certain color: the green for the German, green for the U.S., green for the Allies, gray for the Axis. I'm assuming the Russian troops would be a different color. So again, it's easy. Get them out on the idea of this game is get them on the table and start playing it. You want to spend more time playing than figuring out everything else goes along here. So again, rolling to hit if you're in a vehicle or if you're an individual. Flame weapons, how they're used. Blast templates, how that's used. Flame weapons, again, cover and terrain. Rolling saves for cover saves. Applying damage. Again, moving forward, you're talking about close combat weapons, suppressing a unit, all that stuff. Reactive attacks, Dust Tactic Battlefield. Now they give you a whole bunch of new scenarios, setting up the game, again, choosing your forces. Again, so if you look here, it looks more like I hate to say it, more like a 40K game than it does a Dust Tactics game. Because now you're adding in a lot of the scenery and stuff like that, where in the first edition you didn't really have that. But as you continue rolling on with this edition, and again, it looks just fantastic. Models, second to none, awesome. Great quality of everything that they provide for you. Again, you got scenario special rules, meeting engagements, ambush, reserves, delayed reserves. So you got free-for-all, encounter. You've got no retreat, pincer, dust up, breakthrough. Again, the scenarios are set up exact the same way. It tells you a little fluff about what you're going to be doing, your special rules, you're setting up your deployment zones, winning the game. It's going to tell you how to set up your troops and then where to set up the terrain and all that stuff like that. Then you got dust up, breakthrough, which is number 6. Then you got talking about larger scale battles, which you're going to add in platoons rather than just squads. Then you have the breakdown of how your squads have to be set up. Again, does that with it again here, allied medium combat walker platoon, allied medium combat walkers. Going to talk about platoon leaders and break down your squad, how you have it to have actually a few platoon battles. Again, when you're doing the platoon battles, you set up the way they're telling you to set up, because then when you're getting a battle on the thing, you have, it's very similar point wise. So you have a force of 1,000 points versus a force of 1,000 points. So also you want to make sure the game is balanced. You don't want to have someone has 1,000 points, you have 250, they're just going to wipe you off the board that quickly. Then it goes into the different types of troop types. You have your allied, which are the rangers, the heavy rangers. You got your Axis. You got your platoon leaders. You got your Axis Panzerkampfläufer. You've got your Blitzkrieg tactics. Your Axis Sturm Grenadiers. Your Grenadier platoons. You're going to be talking about your Axis Schwarzer Storm Grenadiers. Platoon advantages. You got your Laser Corps. You have the Russian troops. You have the history of the KV-47s, you have the SSU, and of course you have the veterans of the Steel Guard. Again, it sets you all up. And then it adds in some more special rules for different things, different ranges. You have superhuman, so what do we talk about special rules for? Superhumans, heroes, command squads, skills and equipment, special weapons, vehicle equipment, passengers, carrying vehicles, fortifications. So for the amount of dust stuff that I have, which is just a core box set and a couple scenarios, the reality is I'm using the front end of the box, now the front end of the book. I could also do it on the battlefield, but when we talk about the special rules, I don't have any of the expansions. So again, the great thing about Dust at the time when it was still in production, you can get a plethora of, and you had lots of different choices of different expansions that you could pick up. So again, I didn't have any of those characters. I actually do have that guy who is a superhuman. So you got your different heroes, how they're going to be acting, and then going through here, I have this character as well, because those two were included in the same, I think the same box set, which I did an unboxing for. You can always check that out on the channel somewhere. You got command squads, you got skills and equipment for your specialty characters, you got commissars, you got first strike, you got different things that you can add into them as well. You have mindless zombies, so you got a whole bunch of different things: grenade weapons, limited ammo weapons, grapple weapons, special weapons, volley weapons, underbarrel weapons, Tesla weapons, super weapons, sniper weapons, salvo weapons, reloaded weapons. And then, of course, you have they added zombies into it as well for the Germans who are working with the occult. So you have all that, your different vehicle equipment definitions of it all, carrying passengers, carrying vehicles. So these, again, you would need all the expansions to play this. You need the fortifications. You got fielding fortifications, deploying fortifications, bunkers, strong points, moving through bunkers, weapons in the bunkers. You got barbed wire, you got trenches, you got minefields. So the more advanced the board you have, the more rules they're going to have, obviously. Then you have your index, where to find everything. In case you don't have the templates, you can make color copies of these and then laminate them, and boom, you got your templates right there. Of course, for more information, you can go to dust-tactics.com. Not quite sure if that website's still available, but at the time, that was the that was the website of choice. And then you have the back of it. Again, this is your updated Dust Tactics rulebook from 2014. And again, you have your Dust Tactics SSU 2014 Forces deck. So we're going to push this book to the side. I'm going to pop this open. Now, you're going to see that half the cards are missing. The reason being is that you have a lot of duplicates in the card. So these are your individual cards, but then we also had duplicates. So I'm going to show you. These also are part of the box. I'm not going to go through them because these are all identical duplicates to what's inside here. So I'm going to put that to the side for the time being. We'll put that on the table at the end, so you know that, again, you don't just get these simple cards in there, you get also duplicate cards as well. So you have a battlefield. So right off the bat, these are cards that are used for the battlefield section of the rule book. So you have, again, your ranges. Again, we have it in centimeters and in inches. And then, of course, in the back here, you have your additional damage notes that you have here that you need, okay? Then you have a Joker card. Not much information there. Keep it there. Hit that. Get some more information. So here's the cards that are included. Koshka. The cards are front and back, as you see. So the front is, all the cards are laid out the same way. Gives you the point value. Gives you a picture of the character. You have your character name, then what their special rules are or what their tactics are that they have here. In the back will be what you're going to need when you're shooting your weapon. Again, it's going to have your movement, all that's a double move, and all your icons right here, which are explained in the rule book. And again, then explains to you if you're attacking a person, you're attacking a tank, or a flying vehicle. So all the cards are set up identically the same way, and the point values are to the right. So you have Kashka, you have Nikolai, you had Red Yana, you have Yakov, you have Fike Yeli, okay, Front Ofki, Hailstorm, Motherland Twin Tesla Gun. You have Red Bears, again, Red Command, Red Commissars, Red Commissar, another Red Commissar, another Red Commissar, Red Commissar, another Red Commissar, Red Death, Red Hunters, Red Lightning, Red Storm, Red Thunder, Tiger Claws, Watchers, Steel Death, Steel Fist, Steel Tornado, Air Ambulance, Assaulter, the Burner, the Blaster, the Burster, the Carrier, the Striker, the BA-640, the Babushka, the Matashika, the Grandma, Maxim, Marlin, Melor, Mikhail, Nadia, Natasha, Natalia, Nastasia, Nikita, Danina, the Winter Child, Karl Marx, the Lavrenti Beria, Mao Zedong, the Red Fury, Red Rain, Vladimir Levin. Again, all these cards are primarily set up exactly the same way, and I'll show you one of the last ones as well. So let's take a look at the Vladimir Lenin, which is obviously a tank that you can choose from. It's worth 23 points. It might be worth more than 23 points. I'm not sure. Again, it has those up top there. So I'm assuming the point values are pretty low because, again, they want you to set up a larger scale battle. So, again, you want to, again, all these are expansions. These are all additional things that you could purchase for the Dusk Tactics game at the time. So, again, you've got your point values up top here. Vladimir 11, it tells you it's an I-58 heavy artillery tank. Again, it tells you all the stats that you need to know about it. The special skills has damage resilient, tank riders, tracked, artillery reload. Then on the back, of course, it gives you more information about movement, all things like that, armor value, all that stuff there. Damage resilient, again, tells you right here again, gives you a picture again. And then if you're fighting against troop soldiers, the range between 4 to 16 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches in close combat. Again, it tells you exactly what you're going to roll, how many dice you're going to roll, and whether they're insta-kills and things of that nature. Using your turrets, how many dice and how many hits you need, all those things are explained to you right there. And again, this is considered a large vehicle, and it has basically has 5 wounds in which to it. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's your 5 right there. Which you, again, so these are just basically handy dandy cards that give you information regarding each of the different individual characters and the different squads and vehicles and things that you need to run your SSU forces. And again, as I was saying before, this is just a portion of the deck. Additional cards that are included in the deck as well, which I just want to separate them because they are very, very well created cards. They're very thick cards and they have a plastic coating on them, so they can get stuck. And that's why I did a previous video on these. I had to stop the video because they were so stuck together that I couldn't even get them out of the box. So that's why I kind of separate them to give them more breathing space for all the cards. But the additional cards are in there also. Again, you have one of these large charts again. Then you have Motherland Tesla gun. Again, it's all the doubles of the cards that we already previously went through in the deck. Just going to show it to you again real quick. And these are all cards that we already previously saw in this deck here. These were just the additional ones. I pulled them to the side so you didn't need to see multiple ones multiple times. And there you have it. Those are all the cards that are included in this unboxing of Dust Tactics SSU Forces deck, released in 2014. And of course, we also unboxed today the 2014 version of Dust Tactics, which had 3 different types of battling. You had, basically, this was Dust Tactics Battlefield. So it gave you the basic game, it gave you the Battlefield game, and then it also gave you one additional part in there as well, which is basically your advanced rules for your superheroes and your really extreme, your special rules for your special characters that you could get in the game. So again, this is everything that's included in your Dust Tactics Battlefield Core Rulebook, and in your Dust Tactics 2014 Forces deck for the SSU. So as always, this is everything that's included, and this concludes our unboxing. Thank you so much for joining me for this unboxing video. It's truly appreciated. If you enjoyed the video, you could always give us a thumbs up and leave a comment below. You could also hit that subscribe button. This way you're kept up to date as to any time we release new content to the page. As always, thank you so much for joining us. Be safe, be well, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch you on the next unboxing video.